Peace, blessings, and respect, family. I'd like to share some updates with you, some information. On Friday, this past Friday, a man by the name of Bill Holter purchased or spent $4 million on gold and on silver. And in order to make the purchase, in order to make it go through, in order to get his hands on that much physical gold and silver, he actually cleared out 3 wholesale warehouses. What does he know? Well, I'll let him tell you. Check it out.
Well, hello there, my friends. It's Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. Today is Saturday, February 19th, 2022. Didn't plan to be recording today, and this is going to be quick. But I'm really struggling with some of the things I'm seeing in the world right now. Unfortunately, Bill Holter was kind enough to call me back the day after I watched a woman trampled by a horse in Canada, as Justin Trudeau keeps everyone safe from COVID. Bill, I appreciate you calling back because, as you can hear in my voice, I'm not doing so well. I'm going to be okay. I'm sad because I've seen a lot of people die recently, but it helped me to hear what you just told me, which is why I'm sharing this. So please could you repeat what you told me before we started this so we can let people know what's going on in the world right now?
Yeah, I mentioned to you, I had known that supply was tight. Retail supply has been tight for pretty much 2 years.
Retail supply of, just for anyone who may be new to the channel, of silver.
Right, exactly. I'm not in the institutional world. I deal in retail, and I did an order yesterday of about $4 million, roughly half in gold, half in junk silver. It basically, to fill the order, I cleaned out 3 separate wholesalers of junk and numismatics. So that should give you an idea $4 million in today's world is not that much money. But if $4 million is a tough order to place today, what's it going to be tomorrow or next week or next month as more and more capital begins to flee? Look what's
I think at one point in time in the early 2000s, there was a reset price. There was a reset number. If you go back to, I think it was 2003, 2004, you had Judy Shelton talking about $10,000 an ounce. And it included the SDR. I think we've blown way past that as far as debt terms are concerned. So I think that number is
it's 3 times that.
Pretty much out the door. Right, it's out the door.
Right.
As far as the pricing of silver, first off, let's just use round numbers. God's ratio is 10 to 1. Silver comes out of the ground, it's slightly less than 10 to 1. Historically, the ratio was 15 to 16 to 1. So you got to ask, why was that? Why was it 15 or 16 to 1 when it came out of the ground at 10 to 1? 300 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, long before there was financial engineering. And the reason was silver had to be discounted because you needed a mule you needed a horse, you needed a donkey or a carriage or something to carry 10 times as much weight. So what man did was they discounted the silver price because of the bulk. So that number of 15, 16 to 1, that stood for years and years. Now, if we look at the price of gold, and I did this calculation about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's blown out from there. But back in, I believe it was 2017, I did the math. If you took the amount of U.S. debt, and the reason I used U.S. debt was because back in 1980, when gold hit 850, at $850 an ounce, the gold that the U.S. supposedly had would have exactly balanced. It would have balanced our debt. If you take the debt that we have outstanding and you divide that by the gold that we supposedly have, and I don't assume that we do have that because we've not had an audit since the 1950s. But if you take that gold and you divide it into the amount of debt outstanding, that number in 2017 was $87,000 an ounce. It's way over $100,000 an ounce now. So if you take just use the number of 15 to 1, I mean, 1/15 of what's the number now? 130, 140,000. You're approaching $10,000 an ounce. Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
4-figure silver. One other aspect to look at is how small the silver market really is. I mean, the global production is what, 16, 17 billion dollars a year globally. Right. I mean, that's not, in today's world, that's not even a ham sandwich. That's not, when you're talking about the U.S. Treasury or the ECB or the Bank of Japan, that's like a footnote. It's that small.
Yeah.
Fear is a greater emotion than greed. And where this is going, I don't think it's going to be fear of missing out. I think it's going to be just raw fear, which is going to drive capital toward the metals. And my standard answer now, when people ask me, how much should I have in gold? How much should I have in silver? I'm not talking about the percentage of the two, but my answer is whatever you don't want to lose, because gold and silver are the only two monies on the planet that do not have liability. Everything else has liability. And in a world that's bankrupting, that's not where you want to be. You want to be in a safe haven without liability.
Would you rather have paper or gold?